Hello, everybody. So I'm here with my beautiful friend, not Galaxy 6, S10, Cheryl
Oh, it
Arkison.
doesn't. I could have changed the numbers
That's
or the
okay.
name.
But it is,
Sorry.
you are quite galactic. You are pretty amazing.
I don't know about that, but
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So Cheryl and I are friends. We've been at each other's houses. She's amazing. I love her. And when I put the call out to show about resilience, I love how Cheryl always gives like a very honest and realistic look. And as we're talking about resilience, the ability to bounce back from difficulties, I thought it'd be really refreshing and fun to hear Cheryl's take on this past year and what has she learned about herself that she wouldn't have learned had we not had this opportunity to have COVID.
so when I think of resiliency, it's I think of my kids actually, and because I would always describe my kids as very resilient, and I think a lot of that credit needs to be given to us parents,
Yes.
but I would actually give it the attitude that's led to that is something that my husband has taught me. Um, I used to be, when we met, and for a long, long time, and still sometimes now, I was always a planner, right? Like everything had to be, this is how it's going to be, and we have to be punctual, and we have to, and if it doesn't go this way, then that's a failure. And he taught me right from early in our relationship, and it was about our relationship, but that's translated into everything in life, is just take it one day at a time,
Mm-hmm.
right? We don't know what tomorrow's going to be. So let's just worry about today and get
Yeah.
through today. And so that was the attitude we took with our kids and ourselves, frankly, when it came to COVID. Was, the kids had so many questions, we had so many questions, and there were no answers in the world, really. So everything came about, like we would just say to the kids, okay, 1 week at a time. We'll have another meeting on Sunday, another conversation, and say, okay, this is what we know from this week. This is what's going forward, because there was so much uncertainty. And I think what it really did was highlight that life has so much uncertainty, as opposed to that it was extra uncertainty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that sort of 1 week at a time attitude, because I mean, I was scared and frustrated. I mean, I lost my computer to their schooling, which meant I lost my work that I was doing, or could do, because they needed to be schooled. And I could be really, really frustrated about that, or I could say, well, this is the situation we're in. And so I'm just going to let go of that for the time being. And that's what I did. And I think the ability to just kind of focus on little snippets of time allowed us to take things as they came, which meant we didn't get worked up and we didn't get caught in spirals, right? We could just live, and then find the good moments in all of that living, because you got to have the bad and the good. So we had, the bad was the uncertainty and the scariness and the frustration and the staying home and the isolation, but the good was, oh, family dinner every night and creative time together, and we got Netflix for the first time, and like there was, and so now we have a family show we binge watch. So there were positives, and for me, in quilting, I didn't work from March basically until September. But then in September, I was able to really, kids went back to school here, thankfully. And I was able to really kind of do some interesting things. And now I've launched an entire online learning platform. And, so there's been opportunity that's come out of it.
Absolutely. So let's just talk a little bit about your playcation, because
Yes.
I love that you're doing this. And so just talk to people about this, what opportunity it's given us. I myself just experienced it last 2 Fridays ago, and it was super fun. And I love how you were able just to take that. So just tell us a little bit about playcation.
Sure. So a couple of things. One, this was something that I'd always had the idea for,
Uh-huh.
um, but just not a lot of either motivation or time, really.
Mhm.
I mean, I have three
Yeah.
kids and we run another business. So, but when September hit and I went, oh, I can really do this. It was the name that got me when I was thinking about it, because I've always, as a quilt teacher, been about play and been about encouraging people to make for the sake of making and enjoy their creative time. But when it was thinking about the name, the name came from the fact that we can't go on a vacation right
Nope.
now. Even a
Canadians
stay.
in particular, we really can't go on vacation.
Yeah, exactly. So we can't go on a vacation. Staycations are limited, or we're done with them, right? Like we're okay, I've seen my city enough. Thank you very much. Or the museums and the libraries and stuff are closed, so you can't do those either. But we can take a playcation from anywhere in our house, right? In our home, in our space, and it's for ourselves. It's the time that we give ourselves as much as it is about the techniques and the things that we're learning. It's about the time that we give ourselves to play and to feed our creative spirit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
tell us how it works.
Sure. So right now, what I'm doing is live play dates, as I call them. So
Yeah.
anyone who's got kids or grandkids knows all about a play date. And in these live play dates, it's a live Zoom event where I will demonstrate a short improv technique, something really fun and easy to do. So we've had one that was on crumb blocks, and I'm going to do another one shortly on crumb blocks. And then the second set of play dates is on snowball corners on blocks and different techniques that you can do with that. So the live play dates are the first realm, and then I'm filming standalone workshops that you can access at any time. So if the live play date doesn't work for you at the time that it's hosted, you can do one of these like parties or workshops at any time that works for you.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Yeah.
So when you have these play dates, how do you, I mean, I know because I've been to one, but tell these other ladies that are listening, or men, there's quilter men, about how it's interactive and how you actually feel like you're playing.
Sure. So the very first play date that we've had, there were over 60 people from all over the world there. Everyone shows up live on Zoom. Bring tea, cocktail, whatever you like. I just say beverage of choice, because the point is that I want it to be like you're hanging out with your friends. Right? Like that we're all curled, crowded into someone's sewing room or curled up on the sofa together, say hello to everybody. And then I'll do a live demo that's open for everybody. Try to make it as visible for people. So do the overhead camera shot so people can see. And then we chat for a little bit as a group. People ask questions, but then I break it in, go into breakout rooms. So it was groups of, I think, 6 when we did it.
Yeah, I had 4 in my group.
Yeah, so it just kind of depends, but just a small group, because when you have 60 people in a room, no one can have a conversation, especially on Zoom. I mean, it's, if we were in a ballroom, you can have your little groups breaking off, but you can't do that when you're on Zoom. So I create breakout rooms. I gave some targeted questions for people to ask, because sometimes you might get into that group and not know what to talk about, right? And not everybody is an extrovert like you and I are. And so I gave targeted questions to guide the discussion. And then I assigned someone with the task of leading the group. And so I didn't know everybody on the call, so I couldn't assign people. Like I couldn't say, hey, Dara, you lead this group. I just picked someone on the screen and I said, everyone who's in this spot, it's your job to lead it.
Which was super fun. Top right-hand corner.
Yeah, lucky how they did. So next time I'll pick a different corner so that, if you always get stuck in the same corner, it won't be there. But we've had such great feedback. People had a great time, good conversations. The time flew by. I was trying to keep it sort of between an hour and 90 minutes. And at 90 minutes, it was like, okay, we're here. If anyone wants to hang out for a little while longer, I'll keep it open. So we did for another half an hour.
It could have been longer. I loved it.
Yeah. So, and I've just found that because I'm teaching online with my own stuff, like my regular quilt classes, I'm showing up to guilds and giving trunk shows and stuff like that. The thing that people are really like, it's awesome. I think the quilting world has adapted to Zoom so well. And I think there's some great teachers doing really interesting things out there. And I think there's a lot of people who never would have done something like this before. COVID's given them the opportunity to do it. And as a teacher, I actually find that I'm getting students be even more engaged in the Zoom environment for a couple of reasons. One, they're at home where they're comfortable. right? It's easy. They can choose to sew or not sew. I have zero expectations on what they do. If they just want to sit and watch the whole 6-hour
Totally.
class, knock
Yeah.
yourself out.
Yeah.
So there's that comfort there. You can take a break whenever you want. Number two, you don't have to pack up and bring your stuff. And I find that a lot of people, there's a lot of stress in deciding what they're going to do before they show up to the class.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't, oh, I don't know which fabric to bring. So then they bring all like half of their stash because they were unsure.
Yes.
And and I like to keep my directions open. So that means people can grab stuff. Like when you're working at home, you can change directions and grab things
Totally.
whenever you want. And what I have found is that I used to have a lot of students that, mid-afternoon, that slump is coming. And if you're in a classroom environment, people were just packing up and stopping, and then they were just hanging out and visiting. In the Zoom environment, everyone stays till the end. Everyone is engaged till the end. I often get messages afterwards like, oh, I sewed for another 3 hours and here's what I did, and things like that, because they're more comfortable. They're not stressed out with having traveled, and the time it helps. So I've actually really enjoyed teaching in the Zoom environment. It's also allowed me to go to a lot of places I wouldn't have been able to otherwise.
Yeah, especially for us who have children and different responsibilities, it is a little bit more difficult for us to go away from our families and spend that time. So
Exactly.
well, I love this. I love how resilient. I've actually never heard of resilience being talked as toxic positivity. That's hilarious.
I have. And I mean, I think I've really only heard that toxic positivity expression. I've heard it a lot in the last year, whereas I don't remember hearing it very much before. And I think it is a lot of people responding to, stop telling me that everything's going to be fine and I just have to be happy and that's it, because this was stressful. This is still stressful, right? I'm nowhere near a vaccine. Like I'm going to be the last person to get a vaccine, which is in Alberta going to be months from now still.
Oh yeah.
So, so yeah, I don't necessarily see the light at the end of the tunnel just yet, but I'm enjoying things as they come. My kids are back to activities, which is great for them. But I'm already missing our quiet evenings at home together. Right. So that, there was a benefit that came from COVID. I really enjoyed that slowing down in a way. So
that's awesome. Well, so people, if they want to get in on your play dates, which I recommend they do because they're super fun, tell us how they could sign up for one and how they can know about it.
Sure. You just have to go to the website, which is simply all one word, quiltersplaycation.com.
Okay.
So that's quilters with an S and then playcation.com.
Okay. Perfect.
And just click on the start playing button or the store, and that'll take you to the options that are there. You can also sign up there's a blog on the website where I'm posting weekly, just sort of little inspirational bits in there, little background on me, that sort of thing. And you can sign up for the newsletter. So when
your
you sign,
newsletter is really good.
Thanks. So if you sign up for the Playcation newsletter, it'll bring up the most recent blog posts. It'll tell you any announcements for the class. And then again, more just sort of inspiration, encouragement in that.
Okay. So you actually have two
newsletters.
Wowzers.
Yeah, so there's the Quilters Playcation one, and then if you just go to CherylArkison.com, which is my name, you can sign up for the newsletter there, which is a similar sort of thing, but I don't overlap the content. So it's two different contents.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody.
It's so much fun. And so again, if you really are missing playing and having fun with your quilting and your own creativity, I totally recommend you go check out the Playcation. It's super fun. All right. Thanks for spending time with us. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.